All right. Uh, hey everyone. This is Vincent from our channel here, and I'm here to review Captain Marvel. Now, Captain Marvel's had a lot of bad shit surrounding it up until release here. We've had it projected to lose like $100 million in the box office or something like that. It's had fans upset with how Brie Larson's acting. It's had apparently CEO of Disney upset and other Avengers cast upset as well, but those are just rumors. So but putting all that behind us, let's look at this movie as a movie. And anyone that says that, for example, no one wanted this movie because Captain Marvel is a character who wasn't wanted in the first place, or Captain Marvel was rebooted too many times, or is just too obscure or whatever, I point to Guardians of the Galaxy. That is one of the best Marvel movies, in my opinion, and before that movie, no one knew who the goddamn Guardians were. Um, so this movie aimed to do what Guardians did for them, but with Captain Marvel. Did it achieve that? In terms of success, I don't think so. It's not as good as Guardians of the Galaxy. Well, we'll get into that later. But right now, let's just talk about the movie as a whole. Not any of the shit that's happened outside of it, just purely if you should go and see it and spend about $10 on it. So, plot summary here. Captain Marvel, or by this point, Commander Veers, is with her Kree like squad mates. She's on the planet Hala with her other Kree squad mates, and they are sent on a mission to a planet to basically rescue this survivor. Uh, like their Kree spy intelligence dude that was spying on the Skrulls to get more info. Um, the plan goes awry. Captain Marvel ends up landing on planet Earth in the 90s. The Skrulls follow her because she has something that they want, and then movie ensues. Pretty basic plot summary there. Um, do I think this was a good story to go with for the first Captain Marvel story? Yes and no. For the route they went with, yes, but for the route they could have gone with, I feel like if she was introduced in probably phase 2, early phase 2, and she had her own movie in like space, just her with her Kree squad with her squad mates, so that in this movie they don't feel like bland cardboard cutouts of characters, they'll feel like actual characters. Uh, that's just how I feel that they could have gone about this, but just my opinion. And so, moving on to choice of music. Very obvious for a 90s movie. It's it's what you'll expect. I mean, it's nothing standoutish. It's nothing outstanding or anything like that, but it is enjoyable here and there. There's a very obvious song choice in one of the later fight scenes that happens where it's like, oh, well, yeah, I mean, they can play that game or that song, I guess. But moving on to overall direction of the movie, I felt that a lot of the shots were just bland. I didn't feel like they were too inspired. They were just there's no other way to put it but bland. The fight scenes, however, they were shot with shaky cam and you could barely tell what was going on, and with the lighting, which we'll get to, it was just hard to tell. But there were some moves that they lingered on where I was like, damn, that is that's brutal. I would not want to be hit by that. That's like a fucking cunt punt. But other than that, like what I said before about the lighting, this movie feels way too dark for a Marvel movie. Like not dark in tonal sense, but just actual lighting and color sense. It's very dark. Like there are just some scenes where they could have used just another light or like bumped up the contrast so I could see what the fuck was happening, but uh they didn't. So it was kind of hard to tell in some places, but other than that, let's talk about performances, I guess. Brie Larson, did she do a good job as portraying Captain Marvel? Well, as a guy that's never read a Captain Marvel comic in his life, I would say yeah. Um, a lot of people are upset with inconsistencies in her character, but they can be explained away if you want them to be. So, yes, it could be explained like the script writers were just lazy and they had to include some of that like trademarked Marvel humor in there, and so they put it in. But I think actually it if done on purpose, this would be kind of ingenious. Um, Basically she acts very stoic in some scenes and very uh sarcastic and humorous in others. And I heard one other reviewer touch on this, I can't remember who, but it was basically if she's human, like that's not a spoiler. We see in the trailers multiple times that she's of human origin, but she's also of Kree, like she's been living on Hala for these past couple of years. And so we kind of get to see that. And then the first opening scene of the movie, we see the Supreme Intelligence and Jude Law's character, who I can't remember the name of for the life of me. We see them both tell her to calm her emotions and basically be like not feel anything. And I mean, we see that in her stoic side when she's acting all like, oh, I gotta save the world and I gotta kill all these scrolls and that. And then we see her human side and what seems to be more of her human side as we get to learn more about who she was throughout the movie, that we can see that that's the sarcastic Marvel humor side that's peeking out at places. And I think Brie Larson did a good job. I mean, I am a fan of this Captain Marvel. I um, don't care about changing things from the comics too much unless it's my boy Spider-Man, but that's a topic for another day. So let's move on to Samuel L. Jackson, who played Nick Fury, obviously. Fucking, what do I even have to say about him? I mean, he played Nick Fury, but this is a green Nick Fury, I guess. So like, he's newer to Shield and shit like that. But he's Samuel L. Jackson. He's funny. He's likable. Charismatic. Don't really have too much else to say, I guess, about him. I mean, the way Brie Larson and Samuel um, play off each other is nice. I really like the one line in there where uh, Carol is like, "So, what does everyone call you?" And he goes, "Fury." And he goes, "So what do you call your mom?" And he goes, "Fury." "What does she call you?" "Fury." "What do your kids call you?" "They'll call me Fury." And it was just kind of funny about that. But let's see. Anyone else I'm missing out on? Ben Mendelsohn, he did a good job as General Talos, which is the lead Skrull that she is fighting against. It was he did a good job. He was funny and intellectual in some places, and overall a disposable Marvel villain. he might come back. Who knows? But very one-off by the books Marvel villain, which is very much how this entire movie plays out, if you want to think about it. But then we have Jude Law, who wasn't in the movie as much as I thought he was gonna be. He did an all right job. Just he wasn't in the movie. And then we also have Goose, the cat. Goose is a lot of people say that he steals the show, which is just false in my opinion. They use CG on him because there's some scenes that a cat just would not do, and it's very obvious CG. It kind of took me out of the movie a bit, but it's nothing too big, and it's used for a cat, so it's also like whatever. Um, I really like that. One thing I did not like that was kind of Solo-esque was the explanation of how Fury lost his eye. Like, when it happens, you're like, no, it's gonna get better, right? And they're gonna do it again, right? And then it doesn't. And it's kind of funny after the fact because they kind of do some jokes with it, but it's also like, eh, I don't know about that. Uh, I forget the name of the actress who played Captain Marvel's friend, but she was very good. She was probably the standout performance in this movie. Um, I enjoyed her character very much. She had a very nice emotional scene in there, and yeah, so that about wraps it up for performances, I guess. Besides for the one chick in it, something I forget her name, but she's barely in the movie, so why say anything about her? Uh, I think that about touches on everything, just how the movie is in general. I'll talk about, which is a very one-off Marvel movie. I mean, it's definitely better than say, let me bring up a list of Marvel characters here. Um, I mean, it's better than say Thor: The Dark World. If I had to rank all the Marvel movies here, uh, I'm not gonna do that right now because that would probably be like another 20 minutes on top of this, but it's definitely better than The Incredible Hulk. I'd say it's better than Iron Man 2. I'd say it's better than the first Thor. Mm, probably around the same level of as Iron Man 3 because I actually quite enjoyed Iron Man 3. Um, I actually liked it better than Avengers Age of Ultron and better than Ant-Man and the Wasp and better than Doctor Strange. So I actually liked it a lot more than a lot of these other movies. And I think I liked it more than Black Panther actually. Now that I think about it, just cuz man, I did not like Black Panther, but that's neither here nor there. Um yeah, it's an overall enjoyable movie. You'll have a laugh, you'll have a good time. It's fun. Uh I would say go out and see it this week or over the weekend if you have time. If I'd have to give it a rating here, I would say a 7 out of 10. It is a 7 out of 10 movie. It is a good movie. It is uh it's not great, it's not excellent, nor is it perfect, but it's quite enjoyable. A lot of the criticisms that I have I can't really bring up because they'd be more spoiler talk, but yeah, they left the door open for a lot of possibilities to take over in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So I'm happy to see if they touch back on the Kree or the Skrulls at all in future movies. I think the next most logical step for Phase 4 would either be X-Men, or if they wanted to wait a little bit until after Dark Phoenix kind of goes away, so they could either do Fantastic Four, X-Men, or I say space shit. So like Kree, Eternals, shit like that. Just go fucking hog wild with it, to be perfectly honest with you. Um, Phase 4 is where I think Marvel movies are going to finally get fully experimental with all the tools around them. The movies thus far have kind of been by the books, but the best ones have been stories that could have been told without the superhero angle, the superhero angle just being a nice little icing on the cake, so to speak. In my opinion, I mean, the best Marvel movie, Infinity War, couldn't be what it is without superheroes, so it's kind of an oxymoron there. But it's a 7 out of 10 movie. Go see it if you want to. I have a feeling that it's not going to be necessary to watch Avengers Endgame, but it's whatever you want, so just have fun with it. If you don't want to watch it, don't watch it. Simple as that. If you don't want to support Brie Larson for what she said online, then just don't go watch this movie. Don't fucking yell online about it like fucking every other YouTuber does. But anyways, that's just kind of my opinions on the movie. This is the first episode of Vincent Views. Soon to be more. So I hope you all enjoyed. Wow, there's a lot of dust on my desk. Anyways, that's all for today. This is my first actual review, so it might be a little bit choppy here and there, but as my reviews go on, I'll start writing scripts out for them. This was just off the cuff, impromptu, so hopefully you all enjoy, those of you that watch, and I'll see you guys some other time with some more games, or maybe some more movies. Who knows?